Hey guys, and welcome to another video, and today we're going to do a continuation of Stella because now she's fully skilled thanks to the Hall of Heroes. So I'm going to compare what her damage is now compared to what it used to be. Now before I did the testing in Tier 8 normal when I was doing the video recording, but I did test it out before in Firemon, so I roughly know what sort of numbers she used to do, and we see how much increase she gets from the skill ups. So let's see how we go here. Okay, so just keep in mind the stats on my Stella have not changed since I previously showed it. I will show it one more time at the end of the video just for reference. Alright, so on the turtle, I believe last time I hit the turtle, she did about 13,000 with the first skill, so I hope it should be a little bit more now. 15.7 thousand, that's not bad. Alright, we can also check out her second skill. Okay, here we go. So on the second skill, I believe the last time she did about 10,000 or 11,000 per hit, or something like that. It was about 24,000 total damage. So we can see how it is with max skills. 12k, 16k. Alright, so I think the second hit actually does a bit more, seems like it. But yeah, but that's a pretty big difference. That's like 28,000. Of course, there's just keep in mind there is variation with the skills. Sometimes it could be more or less. But you have a rough idea of how much potentially she can do. You can estimate about 26,000 or so. Now I was going to keep my cooldowns here just so that we have it on the boss for the last skill. Okay, so we've got our buffs, right? Just do that, and alright, so this skill, I believe when I first did it, it was about 7k per strike, right? So let's see how much it does with the stats that I have, and max skill. The hits came out really quickly. I believe it was 8k per hit, so that's a pretty big difference. Assuming that's 7 hits, she's doing a good 50 something thousand damage. That's pretty good for armored unit. Assuming my mass is not off. I'm a bit tired today from work, so I don't really want to think about numbers. But we can have a look at how she goes in other areas. So okay, so first off, we can do a raid, and we can compare it with people that I used last time, or similar people that I used last time. So we can do, say, we could get Max in here. And I need a resistance leader. Okay. I think I actually can't remember exactly who I used. I probably should have checked that before I did the video, but I believe it was these two. So let's see how she performs with max skill in raids. I think it should make a big difference because she's got a lot of cooldown reductions now. Like her fourth skill is now on a 4-turn cooldown as opposed to a 6-turn cooldown, and the second skill is on a 3-turn cooldown instead of a 4-turn cooldown, and then in addition there's extra damage that she's doing as well. So I think I might actually use her more in PvP too. I think if you're gonna use her in PvP and also in Dragons, I think she's better on Violent. So if I get a good Violent set, I might switch her to that. She'll be a bit worse for Raid, I think, just because there's an additional Violent set, which means the boss will proc more stuns on you because you're getting more turns. But I think it'll be it's worth it, I think, to make it better for other areas too. Because I do use her. I was trying her in Dragons earlier. I will show you the run, and she was doing like it allowed me to do, you know, approximately 1 minute runs. It wasn't quite consistent yet. It still fails sometimes, but I think if I change her off her current set, which is Swift, and change it to Violent, I think it will be a lot more reliable, or at least consistent, right? Because she'll have more turns, so more chances to armor break and use more skills for damage. So we'll see how that goes. Next, rune removal, which I'll probably do this weekend. And if it's successful, I might do a Dragons, like Speed Dragons specific video and discuss that with you more then. Then these are just the runes that she has, which haven't changed. I haven't upgraded anything yet. Haven't grounded anything. And I've also, well, with a bit of research and us like talking to other people, I believe that she needs 225 speed to get 7 hits. So I think my one only does 6 hits, but I think that's still pretty good. You know, it will be a lot easier to get the 7 hits with a Swift set. But I think it would be worth like losing 1 attack or 1 hit from the third skill for a Violent set, even if it means you don't reach 225 speed. Although you could maybe reach it if you use slot 4 crit rate. And then, but you obviously that'll give your crit damage. So I think it's probably not worthwhile to do that. It just depends on the quality of your Violent runes. I believe my contribution now is a lot better with Stella's, you know, skill ups now. Used to, like previously, you know, Tish Middens, his team's really good, and I always struggled to keep up with him in damage, or in contribution rather. And you know, so far my team's doing pretty well. You can see with damage stats, he's actually pretty similar to me, but I'm getting a lot more from assists, probably because of the branding effect. So that's adding a lot more assists for me, and also have more. I have more armor breakers as well, or a reliable armor break to help refresh it. So I think that helps my contribution a lot now. Alright, so after this I'm going to show you my sort of the latest team that I've been trying out in Dragons. Okie dokie. Alright, so this is the team that I've been using. It's not optimal yet because well, firstly Stella is not on Violent, right? I think to make your Dragon or Speed Dragon runs like more successful, you want everyone to be on Violent, right? The more turns you get, the more damage, like burst damage you're putting into the boss, and you know, because you need to do as much damage as you can to the boss before he brings up immunity, or even kill him before he puts the immunity up. But my team's not quite optimized, as I said, because of that. Also, my Verd is not on an attack set yet, so he doesn't add a lot of damage. If he's built as a DPSer, like a speed DPSer, then he actually does, he adds a lot of extra damage to the boss. And also this Tark is on like really spare runes. He's very slow, and I think I could do a lot better with him. I had to give him spare runes at the time. Hopefully I will farm some better ones for him. But my Tor's probably the only unit that I'm happy with in terms of stats for this run. But I'll show you how it goes. Maybe I only lost like a second there for having to press auto and switching it to ×3, but it should be fine. Because what I find with the standard speed dragons team will consist of Verd, Galleon, Tark, Hua, and Spectra. Right, that's a very common speed dragons team. And what I tested it before, and what I didn't like about it is that you have to rely on Galleon's armor break. So if Galleon Pirate Sharks turn 1 and does a proc of violent, right, then there's no armor break on the boss, and the rest of your team does, piss poor damage. If your Galleon does do time to loot turn 1, like mine just did, it makes it a lot easier because suddenly everyone's got maximum damage output, right? So as you see, he's like, the boss is getting burnt, and he's really low. He does hit me once, but my team can finish it off, right? And for that reason, I think the 5th unit that you add in, well, at least one of the DPS units should have a somewhat reliable armor break, whether it's on a cooldown or preferably on first skill. I was trying other units like Rauk, and it worked okay, but I think Rauk, because he's tuned for Necro, he's not quite good enough for this. But Stella, being a water unit, I think is really good for this boss. She's got elemental advantage, and in addition, she's got the extra armor break. So even if your Galleon derps turn 1, then at least your Stella will hopefully armor break with first skill, or at least put branding on the boss. Worst case scenario, she'll use third skill after your Galleon does Pirate Shark and there's no violent procs. I think that's the absolute worst scenario, and I think that'll probably the only time you might fail. But as long as you can at least get an armor break early on in the fight, it makes it a lot more stable, right? Another thing that Stella brings to the fight is the attack bar reduction. So it works in a similar way to Hua in that it stops the boss from hitting you too early. Obviously, it's not as good as Hua because Hua can do it a lot more, and do it every turn. But as long as she does do it, then that's still buying you a bit of time. Right, this will be the last run, and then I'll end the video. So I definitely highly recommend Stella. If you can max skill her, then I think she's great for Dragon's B10 as well as Raids and PvP. Now, just on the side, I'm using Tor here, right, as my other damage dealer. One of my guildies did do the same run, except he used Sigmaris instead of Tor, and it still worked for him. In fact, his run was faster than mine, but I think his runes are also a lot more optimized than my one is. So I think you can use any water nuker, like a strong water nuker will fit in that slot too. So Sigmaris is probably the best free-to-play option. He does more burst than Fuel Mars, so I would definitely recommend Sigmaris over Fuel Mars. And I think that the most ideal DPS unit for this would be Chow, in my opinion. It's mainly because worst case scenario, if the rest of your team wipes, if your Chow is fairly tanky, he can at least solo the boss for you, right? Then everyone else is there just to speed up the run, clearing the trash waves. and making it a little bit, obviously making it safer. Because I have seen really well runed chows solo the boss, but you know, not everyone's gonna have that sort of quality runes to do it. So, but if you're lucky enough to have a chow, I think that will make your run a lot better, a lot more successful. So I think here I actually failed the run. As I said, it's not 100% consistent, but I will work on it and make it better. Right, so I think that's all I wanted to cover today. If you have any further questions regarding Stella, feel free to ask me in comments, and I'll address it in a future video somewhere, or at least in the comments. You know, if I don't really want to make a video on a quick question. Alright, so thanks for watching, and I hope this helps you decide whether you want to build Stella or not, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!